Hello audience, Chatitude here. Today we are reviewing The Batman. Ooh, this kind of had to happen. I feel kind of obligated to make this vid just because I did a reaction to one of the trailers. Now, despite doing this reaction to a trailer, I really tried to stay away from the overall marketing of this movie. After the first two trailers, I'm out. I refused to watch the third one. And the only reason I ended up seeing it is because it played in front of Jackass Forever. But I'd only seen that trailer that one time. I stayed away from TV ads. I stayed away from clips. All of that is just for me to basically say I was very, very hyped for this movie. This is probably my most anticipated movie of this year. It was also one of my most anticipated movies of last year until COVID moved it back, but I was thoroughly excited for this movie. So, The Batman was directed by Matt Reeves, and I'm happy to say that it is an incredible movie. It stands apart from a lot of other comic book movies being made at the time, and it's kind of crazy to think the last real Batman movie we got where it's just Batman was all the way back in like 2012 with The Dark Knight Rises. And while Christopher Nolan's an incredible director, I never felt truly immersed into Gotham the way I feel immersed into Gotham with this movie. Some of my favorite movies of all time are from David Fincher, films like Zodiac and Seven. And when this movie was hyped up and people were saying, oh, it's kind of taking inspiration from those type of movies, I thought, is it though? It's PG-13, so I don't know how they're gonna go about doing that. But no, they did. Like, the Riddler is an incredible villain. One of my favorite comic book villains, I'd argue, in any film ever. Obviously, I saw this movie like a couple hours ago, so maybe I'm gonna regret saying all of this and I'm gonna be like, oh, I sound really fucking dumb in a couple months. But for right now, I mean that. The Riddler is an incredible villain. And I've always liked Paul Dano, but I've only really seen him in Prisoners and in interviews. The internet has this thing it does where every time the Batman is cast, every time they cast the Batman, the internet immediately shits on him. They did it to Ben Affleck and they did it to Robert Pattinson. Not me though. I've loved Robert Pattinson in a lot of his recent work. I loved him in Good Time, The Lighthouse, Tenet, and so many other little films. Obviously, people will forever judge him because of Twilight. But this movie kind of shows that he is capable of much, much more. He's an incredible Batman, and that's because he's a different type of Batman. And that goes down to just the script, and that also goes down to probably Robert Pattinson himself not wanting to just play another version similar to the Ben Affleck one, or Michael Keaton, or even Christian Bale. Despite not having a lot of scenes together, there's this feeling that the scenes with Alfred and Bruce invoke that I can't really talk about without going into spoilers, and this is a spoiler-free review, so I'm not going to talk about it. But there's a feeling and a semblance of history that you don't need to show on screen. It's the classic storytelling technique of showing and not telling. And that's kind of what a lot of this movie does, because it skips over the classic Batman origin that everyone should know, because it's been shown so many times. We get it, his parents are dead, whatever. Despite not showing it though, it is such an incredibly strong point of this movie that this has happened to him. And I just love that Matt Reeves and the people at DC, they all trusted the audience to know this. You didn't need to show it again. And I love that about this movie. It really channels the gothic nature of the classic Tim Burton Batman films without going all the way into the cheesy and corny aspect of those films. And I don't use those C words as negative connotations. I'm using them as that is what Burton went for with those films. With a lot of old Tim Burton films, he uses like German expressionism to really showcase this feeling of like this goth aesthetic. It's hard to not just say, blank in this movie was incredible. Blank in this movie was incredible. Watch my review. I don't hate anything about movies. It's hard to not do that with this film because I just love so much of this film, and without going into spoilers, it's hard for me to find words from my vocabulary to use to talk about this film. A lot of the big oh shit moments that happen in the action specifically, they were shown in the trailer. And that kind of bugs me because there's multiple moments that I should have been going, holy fuck, that's incredible, because it was incredible. But the trailer kind of shows a lot of those scenes. Despite being 3 hours, there's not a lot of action in this movie, and I'm not saying it needs that. I did not feel bored with the runtime by any means. I'm just saying that a lot of the big moments in these action set pieces were shown in the trailers. I wish they kind of dialed back on that, maybe showed a little less of the third act in those trailers. But other than that, it's still incredible. There's something towards the end of this film, and again, this is a no spoiler review, so you're fine. I'm not going to say what it is. There's something towards the end of this film I could go without personally. It kind of made me go, huh, cool. Alright, I don't really, I don't know I don't know how to describe it. I don't think it's in there just to set up a sequel. I get why it's in there, but I think there's better ways to showcase what they're trying to showcase. Bro, I can't talk about this without spoiling it. Goodness. They try to showcase something they're trying to showcase something about the city by doing a thing, and that thing they do, I don't think they should have done. It feels not necessarily rushed, but it feels like it's something different than what the rest of the movie is. It feels very detached from it. And maybe that's because they want to use it to set up a sequel, or maybe that's just because of certain... there's a reason I think it doesn't feel like it fits, but I cannot say it because it's too much of a spoiler, so I'm not going to talk about it. Robert Pattinson knocks it out of the park. He's the MVP of this movie, and you shouldn't be surprised. He is the Batman, and I hope this teaches the internet maybe a little bit to lay off on actors when they get roles. Trust in them. He was incredible, and if he gets more, he will be even more incredible. Just lay off. Just lay off. Sure, he did a couple vampire movies like a decade ago. Who cares? Who cares? He's an actor. Their whole job is to become new people. Zoe Kravitz, an incredible Catwoman. Probably the best. I've never had a real connection to the Michelle Pfeiffer version. The Michelle Pfeiffer version. I think that works. I guess that works. The Riddler's an absolutely incredible villain, shrouded in mystery for a lot of this movie, and it makes sense for him to be shrouded in mystery. He's the Riddler. He's the question guy. But he was incredible. And all of the different riddles and puzzles he does in this movie, there's not one where I'm like, that's a reach. Like, all of it was done really, really well to where it makes sense that Batman could solve it, and it makes sense that an audience member could see it knowing what they know. But it's also not like, okay, people who couldn't find this, you're a dumbass. No, it makes sense, and it really does show why this idea of Batman being the world's greatest detective is so cool. So yeah, incredible film. That's all I can really say about it. Whew! I also ate the Batman calzone with my girlfriend before the movie started, and it tasted really, really good, but I must warn you, it destroyed my stomach. It absolutely fried my whole body. I felt myself melting the next day. So, if you got a sensitive stomach, don't eat the Batman calzone. If you don't know, there's now basically goals on the channel that I have put in myself. If you don't know what that means, it's in the About page of the channel. I'll put them in the description as well. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. That is the big goal. It's very far away. The videos I'm making right now will not get me 1,000 subscribers, but the videos I will make in the future definitely will get us a little further. I have some pretty crazy ideas that I really, really want to do, and I'm really going to try to get them to become a reality. So, stick around for that. But the biggest goal being 1,000 subscribers, you're probably wondering, what are you going to do for 1,000 subscribers? I'm going to do an event called Chaticon that I've been wanting to do even before COVID happened, and it was so close to happening until COVID kind of shit on it. I'm gonna go completely bald if I get 900 subscribers. We are talking Lex Luthor style bald. I'm not getting a fade. I'm not gonna get a little buzz cut. I'm talking really bald, like you can slap my head. Look at this hair. I'm waiting to get a haircut until I can go bald. So please subscribe. Please tell your friends to subscribe. Get me to 900. I want to go bald. Come on. Hell, if we get to 900 by the end of May, I'll shave the eyebrows too. That ain't gonna happen. So I feel free to say that because I'm not gonna get to 900 before then. That's basically it for this video. A lot of rambling. I've been recording for 25 minutes. I gotta try to edit that down to, let's hope, 13. I think 13's a good amount. No one's gonna watch this. If they do, awesome, but they're not going to. So, thank you all for watching. Liked it if you liked it. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.